Honestly, it's a huge puzzle. So I've always kind of enjoyed digging into the details, laws, regulations, figuring out how those apply to various things. Ended up doing that in my friend group when one of my friends was starting up a business and he needed some help just researching business stuff. I was like, all right, I jumped in like, hey, let's dig into these laws and regulations. I can pretty good at interpreting legalese and we can figure out how these apply to you. So the reason why I just stayed in sales tax is every day is a puzzle, every day is different. It's not just entering journal entries all day long and that's, your job. There's always something new coming up and there's always something new to learn. Honestly, the way things are shaping up right now, because I kind of fell into tax.
Right.
I didn't actually choose this, it chose me.
Mhm.
Um, but the way things are looking right now with the company that I'm at, ELS, like there are tons of learning opportunities there, opportunities for growth. Um, just like ad hoc mentorship, that kind of stuff. I'd like
Mhm.
to stay there
Okay.
and honestly stay in my department right now, learn more about sales tax, and just kind of dig in and specialize.
Okay.
I know one of the big things in accounting is kind of finding your niche and where you can specialize and really develop a depth of knowledge, not just a breadth. Well, we have weekly department meetings, and normally I started a like Al's, knowledge corner, quick couple minutes of what I learned that week, how it applies to the department. Constantly ad hoc, just like, hey, this law came up, messaging my manager and my coworkers, be like, hey, does this apply to us? Does this apply to this other thing? Um, Even at the presentation that Diane and I were at last night, there was a part that covered Netflix memberships and how those were taxed. I'm like, hey, we have memberships. This court case, albeit for like a different industry, different state, kind of transfers over um, to our memberships and how we're taxing it and actually supports our practice. At the state level, honestly, just that everything is different and people tend to go with what works and what they know. So pushing forward that reform is probably the biggest challenge in just getting people to accept that there is something better and there can be better, not just what we've been living with. Gathering information, we have several different systems that we use. One of them being DocMaster, which is a marina management system. So
Okay.
running reports from that, that'll show various things because some of the marinas do like boat repairs too. So we've got,
Okay.
solid waste fees from tires and batteries to look into.
Okay.
Still working on a small project with those, but gathering all those different reports into worksheets that address most of them, um, still going over them every month, nitpicking, constantly reviewing, making sure we don't miss stuff, see what's changed. As far as getting information, a huge one is TTR.
Okay.
What used to be TTR, it's now ATR,
Mhm.
Avalara Tax
Yeah,
Research.
we use
Yep.
that too.
Yep. Along with county websites.
Okay.
Sometimes even calling the counties if nothing is clear,
Okay.
which it frequently isn't. They just kind of slap up some words and, let us figure out what those mean. Yeah, as far as research, a lot of stuff that we do, like department training wise, is leaning more towards the free.
Okay.
Especially at my level, like, below director level, we have a more limited budget. So the sales tax basics course was actually a huge like windfall boon,
Mhm.
a little bit out of the ordinary thing. So I made sure to take huge advantage of that, bring back all that knowledge, obviously.
Mhm.
So tiny bit of history is I was applying for the IRS before I ended up in my current role.
Hmm.
Um, so years ago, my family basically got hit by a bunch of fraud. Dealing with that kind of really impacted me. So that's where like my interest in accounting kind of started in that. Currently, because I have been working in sales tax for the past almost 2 years and loving it, if I was to move from my current company, I want to look at doing that, but in basically marrying and incorporating the two. I would be looking to move into a role that would incorporate doing sales tax and like auditing sales tax returns and actually looking for the fraud in that sphere. Okay. If selected, bringing that back, obviously expand, my corner in our monthly meeting. What I've been doing a lot in my department right now is documenting our processes. We were a little
Mhm.
lax on documentation. And through that, I've just been trying to basically leave everything better than I found it. Um, but I'd incorporate that, documenting our processes, and through doing that, I can look at whatever gaps we have. We'll basically be using that, bringing stuff back to my manager, going, hey, I found this gap. Here's some ideas of how we could address that.
Mm-hmm.
Even with the past couple like trainings I've been to, learning about tax engines and stuff, is we aren't using one right now. We've been doing everything manually. So yeah,
Wow.
it's fun. It's fun. Definitely learn a lot that way. Yeah, basically bringing that back, being able to have a better grasp of how things could be implemented instead of just the ideas. Basically, because the nerdiest thing I do is go out and gather knowledge and share it with everyone else that I can and figure out how it'll help other people, not just keeping it to myself.
Okay.
So honestly, picking me would be, picking more of our department and elevating my whole team, not just myself.